right now. I am joined by the one and only Professor Amir R.C. Glimpf of Math Maze. And Professor Glimpf attended El Camino Community College, UCLA, and Cal State Dominguez Hills. He has taught mathematics and science for Inglewood Unified, Long Beach Unified, and Los Angeles Unified School Districts. He is the author and creator of the Math Maze Math Skills Development Games. Now, while working as a resource specialist, he discovered or developed, I should say, the games to help students really gain ownership over missing math skills. His games have been used in elementary, middle school, high schools all across the United States, Mexico, Africa, and Canada. So we're talking international here. And Math Maze is also being used by the U.S. military in its K through 12 schools. Our professor holds a bachelor's degree. Our professor holds a bachelor's degree in sociology, a bachelor's in mathematics, and a master's degree in special education from Cal State Dominguez Hills. And he currently serves as the chief mathematics consultant for Math Maze USA. Professor, it is a real pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're more than welcome. And I am super, super happy to be a part of your show. I love the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
I've been so impressed when I stumbled across it. My heart just lit up. I love the work that you're doing. It's fantastic. I wish we had 10,000 more young ladies just like yourself.
You and I
You're doing,
together.
you're doing Omen's work, and
Thank you.
it's so important, so necessary.
Thank you. I feel like I'm walking in my purpose. I feel like I'm doing what my ancestors wanted me to do, and so I too wish there were many, many, many more folks doing that as well. And I know they're showing up in a variety of ways, including angels like yourself who have decided that you're not just going to be a genius, you're going to help other people figure out their mathematical genius as well. Now, Professor, I got to tell you, I have been corrected by some other math professionals who have said that the way I describe my relationship to math is faulty and was not good. So I was challenged a couple years ago to stop saying I'm bad at math. And I now say I'm reevaluating my relationship with numbers or something to that effect.
Excellent.
But I feel like if I'd have had a professor like you in my life, I would not be in a space where at my big old age I'm still reevaluating how I feel about numbers. Talk to us about your early affection for math, how it became something for you, and because I want to get all into Math Maze, but I want people to know how it is that you cultivated this genius within yourself and then brought it to the rest of the world.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I've always loved math.
Mm.
I was considered, well, they called me Poindexter in high school
Wow.
because I not only math was something that I could excel in, and I don't really understand why, but it was a gift. And
Mm.
because I was good at it, I was able to help my classmates and peers get through high school
Wow.
because so many of them had focused on sports and really on just social uh, aspects of schooling.
Hmm.
And because of it, a lot of their parents came to me and said, Jesus, can you help my son?
Right.
He's failing. And I was able to do that. And it actually allowed me to have a really good experience helping the small group of Black students that were in the high school that I went to. I attended a school, the second group of students to integrate the high school I went to. And it was a hostile environment.
Wow.
Nobody focused on whether or not we achieved or were successful in anything other than sports.
Mm.
So most of my peers, their focus was strictly on playing football or basketball and defending ourselves against a super hostile environment. If you think it's hostile now,
Yeah.
go back to the 60s. It was a day-to-day battle just to stay in the environment because
Mm.
they didn't want us there. But fortunately, uh, it was intended for us to be there.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I can imagine that we ended up there. So I went through high school, and as opposed to going to Vietnam, I decided to become a conscious objector, and I
Oh.
ended up going to El Camino College
Wait,
because
can we pause there for just a moment? Because you
yeah,
just used a phrase that I'm somewhat familiar with, but I know many of the folks in our audience may not necessarily know what that is. To be a conscientious objector, what did that mean?
it meant that I refused to go to war for I refused to go to war and kill people who had done nothing to me, and to represent a group of people who ruled and ran this country, who did everything they could do to destroy me and people like me.
Mm.
I couldn't do it. And I had already decided that I'd prefer to go to jail than to end up becoming a killer to work in the behalf of America.
So
And
very
I just,
similar to like Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali, exactly.
Right. So
And I,
conscientious objectors, I just want to make sure the audience is clear. This is a status that you take on when you are refusing to perform military service, refusing to bear arms, or to participate in war because you've got maybe their religious beliefs, they might be moral beliefs, ethical beliefs. And frankly, it is a route that I think a lot more people are interested in now as we see sort of where the world is leaning. I'm assuming that was a challenging decision for you to make back then.
it was
It's one thing
very
to
challenging.
feel it, but it's another thing to actually do it. Can you talk to us a little bit about what life was like for you once you declared that you were going to be a conscientious objector to
It
the
was
Vietnam War?
terrible. When I told my father was a veteran of World War II, and
Wow.
I came from a group of people who believed that it was our duty to go and fight. My friends were being drafted out of high school. And matter of fact, I got a draft notice to go and fight, and I refused to. How can I go and represent and fight for a group of people who hated my guts? My
Mm,
whole childhood was terrible.
mm,
It was such a hostile environment. Every day going to school, I was called names, belittled, and picked on uh, uh, daily. And
wow.
even in school, it was a constant fight. I had more fights because of the disrespect and the hostility that was openly
Mm,
expressed towards me and my peers, my classmates. And so the thought of going and becoming a killer
whew,
for these people was beyond the pale for me. And my morals, my values, my mother was a minister.
wow.
So you can imagine the conflict. She was a minister. My father was, like I said, he was a veteran. But his ideal was when you become a man, you do whatever you need to do for your country. The
Mm,
thought of me going and killing people who had done nothing to me and people who I identify with more closely than the people who are oppressing me daily
mm,
was beyond, I couldn't imagine that. And just personally, I couldn't accept that. And
mm.
I would have spent the rest of my life in jail as opposed to going to fight and represent these oppressors
Now
because
that is
I
a
was
risk
well
that.
aware
Oh, go ahead.
of
Go
the
ahead.
history of this country. I studied it, and all through high school, I studied. I was a student body. I was a Black Student Union president
Wow.
in high school. I became a organizer of the Black Student Alliance when I went to El Camino, and it was hostile there too. I had it was terrible,
My
and I am
goodness.
so concerned about what's happening today in this country because it reminds me of the climate and environment that I grew up in.
Mm,
Except people today aren't driving down the street throwing beer cans and bottles at me as I tried to walk to school and calling
mm,
me names. And I had the police, even the police would drive up beside and say, "Get off the street, you dirty black nigger." And it just broke my heart. And it actually, even to this day, I'm still so emotionally disturbed by my
mm.
experience as a child because I couldn't understand how anybody could be so inhumane. And not only to adults, but to young people, to kids,
Right.
and then call themselves Christians on top of it. It was beyond my imagination.
Mm,
So I don't want to get emotional about that. I didn't come on here to basically tell you what you already know about the country that we live in and its history, but I did not want to become a part of the force to project their power and their mentality on the rest of the globe. And I've been involved in the student movement, the civil rights movement. I actually marched with Martin Luther King. I go all the way back to that. I'm 76 years old.
mm.
I have seen the things I've seen this country. the politics and the way that it has abused and misused Black people in particular. It's just only thing I am so grateful that I do believe in a divine intelligence,
Right.
and I believe that there's a reason for everything, and I do believe that we're gonna emerge from this situation
Mm.
with honor and dignity, and I
Yes.
just love the protractive spirit that has allowed our people to remain grounded and vigilant and fighting for our kids and for our future
Right.
because it will happen. I
Right.
see Africa is on the rise. I've been to Africa 6 times. Africa is rising up. It's if any Black person who gets an opportunity to go to Africa has to go. You
Yes.
got to know there are more of us, and the continent is beautiful. It is growing every day, and it is rejecting the influences of the international oppressors, and the colonizers are being kicked out of it. It's
Yep.
just fantastic. I wish I could live for another 100 years to
Ooh.
see, because I know that one day Africa is going to rule the world
Yes.
because it has more life diversity. It has so much in terms of resources, human, natural, spiritual resources, that
Mm.
it is inevitable. And
Mm.
so, and the rest of the world knows it.
Ooh.
We're the only people that don't even know. But
Sir,
all this is a blessing, and it's
it
been
sure
decided,
is.
but
All
it is.
I know is we brought you on to talk about mathmaze.com, and you have just given me my entire life right now just in this conversation. I know
Look,
you said you don't want to get emotional, but I'm already there.
I
So,
got tears in my eyes just talking
oh
about
my God.
it.
So one more question on this, and I know time is short, but I'm fascinated by this conversation. Once you made that decision that you were not going to go to war, and for reasons why you echoed the reason, I'm the only one of my mother's children who did not serve. My
Okay.
uncle served, my daddy served, my stepdad. I mean, everybody in my family served. And I felt very similar to you. And I knew that there were scholarships that I was not going to be able to apply for because we were in the military. My friends were applying. And I was like, I am not going to. I was like, I just don't think it's going to work for me. Like, it's not going to be a good decision. They're going to kick me out because I'm not, that's not how I flow. So hearing you say that, I feel one, vindicated. But two, I just feel like it's so important for our people to know that there are folks out there who are standing, who are resisting. And I am just everything that you have navigated from a childhood where you are integrating schools, where you are faced with violence, to then being asked to go commit violence against other people.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to you as our elder for standing as an example
Well, it's
for how
my
to
duty.
navigate this world.
It's my duty, and I understand. I it's not a mistake that we are here in this country. It's not a mistake that I went through the experiences that I went through. There
Right,
was a purpose for it all.
right.
That's why even today, as I promote and try to make sure that our kids get this game that was designed for them,
Mm,
I know that this is for me to do, and it's my
mm,
duty. The reason that I dedicated the rest of my life to doing this is because God gave this to me to give to my people, because I know how powerful it is. It is so powerful, and I feel blessed that
mm,
I've been chosen to do this. And
mm.
even though it has been a tremendous sacrifice personally for me, because I have 6 children, and when I quit my job, I spent day and night trying to get this to Black students and Black and brown students, and it has been a struggle, but I refuse to give up. And I just because I know that the forces out there don't want our kids to know how brilliant they are.
Mm.
I know that they don't want them to have the skills that will allow them to continue the rich history of creating. So our kids are born with an unlimited capacity to create and to discover and
That's
to
right.
invent. And I meditated and got this gift, and that's how it came to me. And
So
so
let's talk about this. This
when
is
I
Math
realized
Maze. You're
When
holding
I,
up two copies. I want people to know what you, because I can see you, but the audience isn't going to be able to see you until this show's on YouTube.
I'm
You're holding
sorry.
up copy. No, 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 not at all. You're holding up copies of your game,
Yeah.
Math Maze, Mathmaze, which every single one of you can go right now and purchase at mathmaze.com. Talk to us
Dot
about this
US.
game.
Dot US.
Dot you.
Math.
Oh, let's get the right
Yes.
website out there.
Mathmaze.us.
Mathmaze.us. Okay.
Very important.
Talk to us about this game.
Okay, so this game is a game that will allow our not only kids, but the whole family. It's designed for the entire family. It's a tool to learn foundation mathematics that are at the root of all mathematics. And once we get access to these skills that are embedded in this game, they will have all they need to create additional branches of mathematics. Math is what's called the ladder discipline, and it requires ownership of prerequisite skills to access advanced skills,
Mm,
formulas, concepts, and theories. But I discovered in teaching that the reason our kids struggle with math is that they didn't own the foundations,
right.
and that when you own the foundations, you have the ability to move into more complex mathematics because you own the prerequisite skills. But
Mm,
the school system isn't set up to allow our kids to master anything.
right.
It is strictly set up to preoccupy them with skills that really they don't need and information they don't need. But
Mm,
this game, and let me just start to say, first off, it's a card game. We
right.
are communal people. We learn best in groups. And as parents, it's our duty to make sure that our kids own the skills that will allow them to grow into productive adults. And this game allows the entire family to work together, whether it's two players or six. It'll accommodate 2 to 6 players. In the game, there's a new mathematics manipulative I created. It's called the mathematics function bar, and it's used similar to the way dice are used.
Huh.
Along with the mathematics function bar are decks of cards. These cards are printed in Spanish and in English, and they have a graphic representation of the value. This one here is 3, it's tres, and there's 3 graphic dots. We use the dots because
Wow.
really young kids can learn from counting and touching the dots. The game is auditory, it is visual, and it's also God, I can't even think of the word. It's I get so wired up over it. I love this game. I tell you, every time I played it a million times, but every time I play it, I have so much fun because it's what it is. It's a game that allows the kids to learn and play and have fun. And when people have fun, they retain the
That's
skills
right.
that are embedded in the
That's
activity.
right.
Plus that, they want to return to it. And so it allows them to be drawn to practice. And that's
Mm,
the key. You have to want to do something and do it long enough to acquire the skills that are embedded in the activity.
that's right.
So in each deck, there's 2 types of cards. These red cards are called factor cards. They're numbered from 1 to 10, and the green cards are called players cards.
So what, you got red and green and
Red
the
and
dots
green
are black.
and
Oh,
the dots
snap.
are black. That's right. Now that,
Woo-hoo.
yeah, let me tell you about it.
Ah,
It's a
I see
spirit.
what you
I'm
did
telling
there.
you, this is
I
a
see it.
spiritual experience, and it's something that allow the homeschoolers, anybody who
Mm,
works with kids. I'm telling you, they love this. And I've been promoting tournaments and giving the kids prizes for winning tournaments, and they love it because our kids have been taught that they're dumb, that
yes.
they're stupid, that they're not good at math. But when you learn the skills, all of a sudden the light comes on, and you start going, "Hey, you know what? I understand that. I'm not. I can do that." And look, the more they do that, pretty soon they start saying, "I love math."
Oh my
I love math.
God.
And when you love something, you get further into it. And you want to look at it more and do it more. And
Right.
the more you do it, the better you get.
I'm
So,
so glad to hear you use the word spiritual because there's a trilogy of books that I'd read recently. It's called the Binti series by Nendi Okorafor, and it's a Afrofuturism sort of series. I bought it for my daughter. I ended up reading it because oftentimes young adult novels are great for adults. And in the main character Binti, she's a part of an African community, and obviously this is centuries into the future, but she's a part of an African community, and they do math as a form of meditation. And when they go into their meditative space, they do it by this they call it treeing, and it's a whole mathematical thing. And the author walks you through it. So I felt like I was like, I wish I'd learned math and meditation. I would probably learn. So to hear you use the word spiritual while we're talking
yes.
about the red, black, and green coloring and
Yes.
iconography on the game, all of the oh Lord, God is so
Look,
good.
I